I feel a little, I guess you'd call it flushed, maybe. Is that the little
Yeah.
fiery? But
Yeah,
other
that's
than that,
probably a little bit of it, yeah.
but that's it. I mean, my arm's not sore so far.
Yet.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
it after the first one?
A little bit, maybe for that, the rest of that day. But when I woke up the next day, it was fine.
Cool.
I won't
Charlie,
have
you had
mine
your
until
vaccine, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Mm-hmm.
My second one was February 10th, so I'm in good shape.
Yep, mine was in January 7th. So
Oh yeah, well, of course, if you would get it right up the front.
yeah, December and January. So
Yeah.
I'm good.
So which screen are you seeing?
the land use plan. Not the
Not the presentation, both.
both.
Yeah, it's not the overall picture.
That's the presentation.
That's good. Full picture now.
All right, we'll see if it remembers that. Might have to do that again when the time comes.
All right, we seem to be lining up well. We're a few minutes away. Charlie, good evening. Long time no see.
Good evening, Mayor. How are you?
Good. It's been a good day.
It has been a good day.
We'll start in just a few minutes. And Barbie, you're running the show tonight?
Part of it. We'll let you have the honors.
I can give it up easily. All right, it is 6:30. Looks like we have everybody on board. Welcome everybody again tonight to our Board of Commissioners meeting, the Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021. Before we get to call the meeting to order, I'm going to have Barbie read some statements into the record. Barbie, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. The town of Waxhaw is transitioning to a new agenda management platform. Please be patient as we navigate the new system. All the information pertaining to the agendas and minutes will continue to be accessible on the town's website. I just wanted to go over a couple of logistics with relations to this meeting. Your main controls for Zoom are in the bottom left of your screen. Board members and participants, please make sure that you mute yourself when you are talking and keep your camera on as we are streaming live to YouTube. In regards to how you will participate in this meeting, the mayor will call you each individually to provide comments and votes. When voting, please remember to identify yourself by stating your name and your vote. If you would like to speak at any point during the meeting, please raise your hand and be mindful of your background. If you're in the middle of a presentation, you're raising your hand, but not being called on, please feel free to speak up. Most importantly, we want you to make sure board members are able to participate in this meeting fully. If you experience any technical difficulties, please notify me so we can suspend the discussion. Next, we'll need to take the roll call. Please indicate if you are present. Mayor Ron Pappas.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Brenda McMillan.
Present.
Commissioner Jason Hall.
Present.
Commissioner Ann Simpson.
Present.
Commissioner Tracy Westlick.
Present.
Commissioner Pedro Moray.
Present.
Thank you. All members are present. Mayor, I will turn the meeting over to you.
Very good. Thank you, Barbie. So with that, this meeting is called to order. First order of business, if you will, be our traditional ceremonial opening. If you'd please stand and we'll cite the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing for a moment of silence, please. Very good. Now here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate that. Thank you again, everybody, for being here tonight. It's always fun to see your faces on the screen. Someday we'll get to have it live again. All right, next item is on the adoption of the agenda. And I want to ask if there are any changes. I understand that there might be a couple of additions. So the one I know of is requests from the town manager. So Jeff?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I have two requests to add to the agenda this evening. One is on new business, and that would be to consider a resolution calling for a public hearing to consider installment financing for various capital projects. That would be number one that would be number one, and that would be under new business. And then the second one, I guess, is kind of a mild surprise recognition. Would like to just take a moment when we get to that point in the agenda to identify our ladies that represent the town Waxhaw that are included in the 100 most powerful women in Union County.
Okay, very good. So we have on that, we have a request that will fall down on recognitions. So we'll put that in as item number 3 on recognitions. And the other one will go down to new business, the refinance there. So any additional requests for changes to the agenda? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote to approve the amended agenda. So I'll start at the top. If I can have a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Good, thank you. So we have the motion forward. I'm going to call for roll call vote. We'll start off the top with Mayor Pro Tem McMillan.
Aye. Brenda McMillan.
Go back to Commissioner Hall. I probably spoke over you. Sorry about that.
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Morey,
Commissioner Maury, aye.
Commissioner Westlake,
Tracy Westlake, aye.
and Commissioner Simpson.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Great, thank you very much. So the adoption of the agenda, amended agenda is approved. So we'll deal with those items as they move down. There are no general public comments tonight. So let's drop down to the consent agenda. On that one, we have two items: acceptance of the tax collector's report and approval for termination of delinquent cemetery contracts, which we've talked before. So if there are any requests to change on that, see no hands there. So I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Great. So we have the motion. I will do the roll call vote again. Start with Mayor Pro Tem McMillan.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Commissioner Morey.
Commissioner Maury, aye.
Commissioner Hall.
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Simpson.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Commissioner Westlake.
Commissioner Westlake, aye.
Great. Consent agenda is approved as published. So now we move down to a couple of things on our recognitions. And so I think this one goes, my cheat sheet here is telling me who. So I think we have the Parks and Rec Director, Dina Sabinski. Dina, you're up again. There you go.
Hello all. Right, I'm going to share my screen. And I would first like to recognize, there we go. Can everyone see my screen?
We can.
Awesome. So what a wonderful way to do community building is we have great partnerships with Five Stone Church. They actually come to us usually once a year. COVID kind of put us behind to do service projects within the park system and town-owned properties. So I want to give it a shout out to our wonderful partners. Mr. Dennis is a great organizer. He's one of the men in the church that basically gets all these hundreds of volunteers together. And they came out on March the 14th on that Sunday and spent the whole day with us. First, they went to, get my next page. They were at Barnes Park where they kind of tidied up everything. We had lots of vines near the meeting place. They got that all tidied up, and that way we won't have any critters in there. They also helped out with putting down pavers. So now we have this awesome place we can picnic. So they added pavers near our picnic tables and under our little gazebo, where we'll put more picnic tables for our community to use. So I wanted just to give a wonderful thank you to them on helping out with Barnes Park. They also came out to Nesbitt Park, where they helped with tidying up around the bleachers. They added rock right under them, so we don't have any nasty weeds under there, and it keeps it really clean. They also helped put dirt near the sidewalk so we don't have any tripping hazards. They added mulch and added fencing so we don't have any mischief makers going onto the ball fields. So again, wonderful partnerships with our community, and definitely how to pave it forward. So I just wanted to give a wonderful thank you to Five Stones Church with all of their wonderful volunteers.
Wow, that's really excellent. I understand they had over 340 volunteers out.
They had within the community, yes, sir. And we were fortunate where we had about 50 at each park, and they did an awesome job. So when I was talking with our, I didn't know that share. I was talking with our park staff, and they were like, it would have took us 6 months to do all the work that was accomplished in that one day. So again, that really is truly building partnerships in the community. So I really appreciate it. Our next community partner is the Aviano Family. So they came to us a few times over the years of wanting to give back to Waxhaw. And through some brainstorming, we came up with the donations of 2 benches in our downtown area. And those 2 benches have 2 plaques on them. They're also residents of Waxhaw and own 2 businesses in Waxhaw, Lulu Salon and Waxhaw Bobo Tea. So again, they are invested in their community and wanted to show love back to the community for just, accepting them and giving that community spirit that we all love about Waxhaw. So I'll give you a couple pictures. So we just wanted to say thank you to their whole family. This is the whole group. We actually waited to take their picture so they can have a family picture. But again, a wonderful way to celebrate them as a family, to give back, celebrate their heritage as Armenians, and also the diversity that we have in our community. So we're going to try to do that more often, especially with Park and Rec. So just again, to highlight them and to say thank you for these wonderful gifts to the Waxhaw community.
Dina,
Go ahead, Dan.
Yes, ma'am.
are those benches in a certain location? Like, is there a certain place that, are they in front of a certain business or a certain spot?
Yes, ma'am. They are near Maxwell's, and during their looking at their art windows area, they're right there. And that was a request was made by the family to place them there.
I especially like the lower left photo with that beam of sunlight going on the plaque. So
Right?
it's kind of fun. So I think that's really great. Tracy, I see your hand up. Oh, then you'll have to disconnect.
No, but I do want to say thank you to both Five Stones and the Ivanov family. Their generosity and the volunteerism. I love seeing the positive things happening to Waxhaw. So just thank you again.
Anyone else up there? I also want to thank both organizations, or the family and the organization, the church, to come out and be a participating part in our community. I think the energy that we've all been able to foster here is really paying off, and there's a lot of community involvement. I was in the downtown area this afternoon, and the downtown business owners are really starting to see the fruits of all of our labor. So thank you all for encouraging them and doing all your parts. So thank you again, all of you, as well as Five Stones and the Aviano family, if I said that right. Very good. Thank you, Dina. Appreciate that. All right, at this point, we're going to move down. I'm tracking 2 schedules here. One's my cheat sheet on the presenters, but at this point in time, we'll move on to the, let's see, we don't have any presentations.
Mayor, was there not another recognition?
Yeah, let's see. Jeff, did you want to do that? Do you have another recognition in there? Yes, you do.
Yes, sir. I have a recognition. So Union County Weekly has come out with their annual list of 100 most powerful women in Union County. Our own commissioners, as well as a few staff, have made this important list of recognition, and I'll list them out in alphabetical order. Wendy Davenport, our Human Resources Director. Brenda McMillan, Mayor Pro Tem. Dina Sabinski, our Parks and Recreation Director, Melody Schuler, Town Clerk and Assistant to the Town Manager, Ann Simpson, Waxhaw Commissioner, and Tracy Weslick, Waxhaw Commissioner. I just thought it was important, since this list came out, just to take a moment just to recognize, especially since it is Women's History Month. And I know this list comes out annually, and I think that everyone should be very proud of being recognized by Union County Weekly and what you provide to the county. I know everybody here is here for a reason, and that's to serve the public. And just want to let you know how much I appreciate that, how proud I am that you all made this list.
That's a big congratulations. to everybody
Congratulations.
there. Waxhaw rules, it looks like, and the women are leading that group. So we'll see if we can get on the cleanup list, guys. What do you think? So that's great. Well, congratulations to all of you. That's quite a number, 6 to, be recognized for representing our community. So thank you for all that you guys are recognized for by way of all of what you do. So thank you very much for that. All right, with that, I don't think I've left any more on the recognition side over here. And again, trying to track both of these pages here. So we're down to presentations. There's no presentations that I see on the list over here. We'll drop down to the public hearings, and there's nothing on the public hearing side. So I guess we jump over to old business. And with old business, I'm going to hand the mic back to our town manager, Jeff Wells.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So Waxhaw is facing increased growth challenges. We've greatly increased demand for services and infrastructure from our residents and businesses. We know growth has and will continue to be an issue that we as a municipality need to get out ahead of. We get out in front by creating a strategy that recognizes that growth is here and puts us in position to manage it. So tonight, we're here at that final step in this journey that started back in summer of 2019. So I think everybody has probably seen, participated, and heard enough presentations that we won't go back through any lengthy things like that at this point. So we'll spare that and want to focus on just a couple of the outstanding items that came about from the public hearing and from afterwards, and just make sure we've gone over those to the board's satisfaction. So you have to bear with me as I toggle between presentations here. Here we go. So first, the text in regards to accent lighting, that was one of our outstanding items, and we went over this again last week at our 2x2, and we had concurrence from the board. Now this is section 8:15:3, and this was the language that was changed, and that is in paragraph L. The use of LED or neon to outline individual windows, roof lines, or buildings is permitted. And for non-residential uses, light colors shall be limited to white or clear, except during town recognized holidays or special events. So that was the revision there. And then I will scoot back up to the food truck section, and specifically in paragraph B, or section B of the food truck section in chapter 4, we removed the 50-foot spacing requirement. We tweaked the public parking space requirement, increased that to 3. Wanted to also note one of the other additions that we made, and we discussed at the 2x2 as well. We thought about this as we were talking through it. Food trucks are allowed on construction sites in all zoning districts without requirement of constructed parking spaces. And so we were all in concurrence last week that was good. And so that's where that stands. And I know Jason had mentioned that he might have a couple of things to share, and we weren't able to get together in the last few days. So if we want to go over anything there, we certainly can in a few moments. I will stop sharing and go into my mapping first here. And I can also show off what we hope to have online tomorrow will be our new interactive zoning map that shows our new zoning districts. So you'll be able to go in here, zoom in, zoom out. You can identify the properties there. They'll tell you what the parcel ID is, what the zoning is. And so we had between the public hearing and tonight, we had a couple of different requested zoning changes to a couple of parcels. And so I'll scroll down to the area off of Providence Street where we had two different requests. The first request was for the property at the corner here of North Providence and Blythe Mill. The owner of that property had made the request for the board to consider that to be a neighborhood center. And after further discussion on that, the staff recommendation is to leave that R4 as it currently is presented. And then the other request was for the two parcels here on the west side of North Providence Street. And that's 607 and 615 North Providence Street. That request was to change those from R4 to Town Center. And staff has the same recommendation to leave those at R4. Reason being, kind of similar to that first request that was made on public hearing night that got a little bit of negative feedback. I would think that this late in the process with the request for the other two parcels, I would be hesitant to make that change, considering you might have the same thoughts from some of the people in the neighborhood there. We had one other request, but I don't really consider it to be legitimate since we never got concurrence from the property owner. So it's really probably not even worth bringing that one up, really. So what that means is that your zoning map stands the same as it was at the public hearing. So that's what you would be considering as part of your consideration of approval tonight would be the future land use plan, the zoning map as they were presented at the public hearing, as well as the land development code. And I guess before I put up on the screen the slides as far as motions and things like that, want to make sure that any other questions or thoughts are discussed, any last moment things that you would like to talk about. But before I do that, I will again just let everybody know how proud I am of our entire staff to get to this point. As I mentioned before, we started this journey back in the summer of 2019. I don't know if Brenda remembers this, but one of my first few weeks here, and I was planning director at the time, I had just hired on, and at the time, during budget workshops, department heads had been asked, to come up there to the front and talk about their budgets to the board. And I don't remember all the specifics of the conversation, but I remember Brenda telling me that she wanted a new UDO. And I was like, all right, so here we are. So I'm just very proud again of everybody to get to this point. Can't tell you just how excited I am and looking forward to the future. Everybody in the planning department had a hand in this. Engineering had a great hand in this. Public services did as well. Of course, our clerk staff supported us every bit of the way. And as I mentioned before, other people that don't really know that they had any direct input did, and just batting things around with other people in town hall. Certainly the advisory boards, planning board and board of adjustment for all their support. But most importantly, as I've said before, but want to say it again, I just greatly appreciate the Board of Commissioners' support through this process. It's a challenging process to get through. It's a challenge to get everybody on the same page, but I think we've done it here. And I think everybody here, we're obviously very proud as staff, but I think this board should be very proud for what we're accomplishing here. And I really appreciate all of your efforts to be part of this process and hang in there with us and go through all these meetings and be so inclusive in the process. It's just been it's been a great experience. And as I've mentioned to the mayor, and maybe have mentioned to this board before, I think we have a great story to tell. And I think that we will definitely try to get this story told at a state conference, planning conference, maybe even a national conference, who knows? So I think it's a great process to talk through. It would be a great session. So I'll stop at that and take any questions.
Jeff, not a question, just congratulations to all those that had a hand in it, because it certainly is a document that deems worthy of Waxhaw.
Thank you.
All right, Jeff.
Jeff,
Go ahead.
Jeff,
Yeah.
I have well, I don't know if it's necessarily a question, and I know that we had a few extra things to consider tonight, and I just want to make sure that in fairness and in the spirit of being transparent, that we had an additional request that had come in from the public since the public hearing. And so is there a way that you can go back to like the land use?
Yes, I can. I mean, and I can go over them again if you'd like. I would consider we had two formal requests and one that really didn't materialize. But the one was a request from a property owner at the intersection of Blythe Mill and North Providence Street. Of course, this is the one that came up in the public comment in the public hearing 2 weeks ago. The second one came in just a couple of days ago, and that was for these two parcels here on the west side of North Providence Street. That's 607 and 615 North Providence Street. And then the third was this parcel here in Prescott Village, but after some initial discussion, I never got acknowledgement or concurrence from the property owner, so I would not request that the board even consider that. So those were the three.
I was just hoping that you could just elaborate a little bit more on that second one, because I was aware of the other two, but I know the other one just came in, those two parcels. I'm using my mouse like you can see it, but the ones on North Providence Street, which were the two ones that were in there.
Yeah, sure. So, and I guess a little bit of background is the reason why these are the way they are. And then also that one down there that's kind of off on their own on the south it was in response to a meeting that we had on September 3rd, 2020. It was a focus group that we had with a few of the neighbors there. I believe there was 5 or 6 in attendance. And one of the people that attended that evening was that property owner. And what the conclusion of that meeting was at the time was that the ones that made the request that their property be R4, we acquiesced to that. We were fine with that. And so that's what we did. And that's where we've left it since that time with that small focus group. And so that's why I'd recommend that we leave that. One of the reasons why I'd recommend we leave that the same. Want to point out too that this is how it would be adopted if it's adopted this way. But just like any other property owner in the town, we have a process. It's in our new LDC chapter 3 for rezoning requests. whether they're general rezoning request or conditional rezoning request. There is a process. And so, and we will start to receive those again as time goes on, obviously. So if somebody's interested in rezoning their property, it's very easy for somebody to contact us and we can walk them through that process.
So I just want to make sure that I understand what you're saying is, so you said like back in the fall when we began like the public input process, you had a focus group meeting with the residents of this particular area where you presented the information, took their feedback, and then worked with them to come up with this, how it's currently zoned. Is that correct?
That's correct. It was not all of the residents from that street, but it was five. I think it was 5 of them that were actually in attendance, and then another that they had mentioned that could not make it that evening. So I think it was actually in response to 6 property owners.
Okay, and so the current zoning that is being requested is, or what the current zoning that is R4 and the type of rezoning they were requesting for us to consider on these 2 parcels?
Yes, from the result of that meeting, yes.
Right, and then currently right now, this new request that came in within the last, since our last meeting, it's currently for the proposed R4 to, what did they want to change it to?
Town center.
Which would be the pink?
The pink, yes.
And if we did that, what type of uses could they put on that property?
Well, so they're completely different zoning districts. R4, for example, is a single family zoning district. It allows for a density of 4 units per acre. Single family detached and single family attached housing are allowed at that density. Those are the primary uses. I mean, there's a few others, but those are the primary uses. Town center is a non-residential zoning. It's a business zoning. It's designed to cater to retail, commercial, and some light manufacturing. So that's the difference in the zoning districts.
And so if we did make that change, then it would go from like residential to potentially some type of retail or other type of business use.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I just want to add to that. I think for me, and I think I don't want to speak for the rest of the board, but I think the consensus was that, we've closed the public hearing. So other citizens aren't able to give their input for this request. Like after the public hearing, they had 24 hours to send in comments, which some did. And by changing something like this after the public hearing's been closed, our citizens are no longer given that opportunity to put in that public comment. And this has gone through the planning board and their approval, and again the public hearing. And so that was my reasoning for not supporting the change after the public hearing was closed, even though I know Charlie said that's allowed. But I just felt that it was important that the citizens be able to give that input.
But in addition, one of the second requests, which Commissioner Simpson was just addressing, this citizen as well was part of the focus group and has met with and discussed with the town manager as well as staff on previous occasions regarding the zoning of this property, and had ample opportunity prior to now to even come forward when the public hearing was still open and request this request that is just currently being made as well.
Also, just to being fair and transparent, I just wanted to make sure that us as a board had an opportunity to discuss this, where I know the other parcel that came before us up at the top was discussed during our last meeting as a result of the public comments. Where this came to us, I felt like we should do some due diligence and at least discuss it and be transparent of our decision making on this, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure we talked about it. Maybe we just need to get a consensus from all of us where we think about this.
Well, again, I'll weigh in a little bit on it. I mean, we did meet with that neighborhood group and a lot of discussion, more than one meeting. And that particular owner was part of that process at the time. So we moved in that direction as a consensus from, that represented leadership at the time. And as the town manager said, in the future, if the other two ownerships of those two properties on the west side of the roadway want to petition after that, it's a living document and it could be considered later on another submittal. But I think you're all right in that, we've gone through a process. We've got adequate input from the public. And I think I think where you're heading right now is probably the most appropriate move, is to look at it as you can see it there on the screen. Any more questions for the town manager / planner? How's that?
Well, just to clean up that conversation, I wasn't hearing that anybody had any difference of opinion to R4. That's what it sounds like.
Sounds that way. All right. Well, I think at this point, Jeff, I think it's your turn to make a request.
Okay, let me pull up that presentation.
Mayor, I'd like to make sure that we have something on the record as far as the public comments are concerned. The public comment period was held as required by law up to 24 hours after the public hearing closed. And then all comments received pertaining to this item have been sent to the board. Just wanted to make sure that was on the record for the public.
Okay, very good. And like in a lot of places during this entire process, that there is an extended public hearing comment period after the meeting for 24 hours, and we're following those guidelines. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Barbie. So Jeff, I'm waiting with bated breath.
Okay, so here we are. And just for a reminder, first I'll mention that, of course, the planning board recommended unanimously this document back at their February meeting. So you have two motions tonight. The first one's pretty easy. Somebody has a lot of reading to do with the second one. But the first one would be a motion for approval of the new Land Development Code, updated future land use and zoning maps as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Commissioner Simpson.
I'll make the motion to approve the new Land Development Code, updated future land use and the zoning map as presented.
All right, board, we have a motion up. Any further discussion on it?
We'll have to close the public hearing first.
That's already closed.
Closed.
This is just a publication from the last meeting.
All right, so we have a motion up. So we're looking for a roll call vote. The motion is to approve the adoption of the Land Development Code, future land use and zoning map. So I'm going to go around the horn. Mayor Pro Tem McMillan.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Commissioner Westlake.
Tracy Westlake, happily aye.
Commissioner Hall.
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Morey.
Commissioner Maury, aye.
Commissioner Simpson.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Motion is passed. Congratulations, everybody. Well done job, everyone.
One more. Here's the harder one. So this is the motion for the reasonableness and consistency statement as we have prepared here.
Well, we probably could have done that with the initial motion, but let's go for it now.
I guess I should make this since I did the first motion.
Sure, we'll let you.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the town's revised growth strategy, and it's consistent with the comprehensive plan and future planning goals of the town of Waxhaw. It is reasonable and in the public interest as the town has updated its zoning ordinance named the Land Development Code, which will replace the outdated Unified Development Ordinance, as the new regulatory tool for planning and zoning administration in the town's jurisdiction, updated its future land use map, which depicts the town's growth strategy as determined by the comprehensive planning process, and updated its zoning map of Waxhaw's jurisdiction that initially zones the town with zoning districts that are consistent with the updated future land use map.
Very good. Motion is up again. Any other further discussion? Motion to approve. I'm going to do roll call vote. Mayor Pro Tem McMillan,
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Commissioner Westlick,
Tracy Westlick, aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Morey,
Commissioner Moore, aye.
Commissioner Simpson.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Outstanding. Now we can jump up and down. So big effort by everybody. And I dare any other municipalities to take on the challenges that all of you have in sitting through all the dialogue, word by word, page by page, sentence by sentence. What a great thing to accomplish. Another one in the books. So thank you very much, everybody that participated. Jeff, thank you again for all of your effort with all of your staff and everybody who did contribute to this. What a great undertaking and what a great success. So we applaud you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. We're very happy. Thank you again for your support.
Very good. All right, so the next item on the agenda here is the resolution recognizing Juneteenth, affectionately known as Juneteenth, but June 19th. So this one's going to pass over to a short explanation by Mayor Pro Tem Brenda McMillan.
Okay, good evening all. Again, I come before you with the resolution recognizing June 19th as Juneteenth Independence Day. Juneteenth or June 19th is a day that commemorates the ending of slavery in the United States. On June 19th, 1865, it was announced the Civil War had ended and slaves had been freed. Juneteenth is observed as a ceremonial holiday in 47 states, including North Carolina. In 2018, the Senate unanimously passed a resolution in honor of this day. Observance of June 19th is marked in various ways, from events, street fairs, programs, art exhibits, etc., on African American heritage. Back in January of 2021, in our 2x2s, the Board of Commissioners discussed Juneteenth. At a regular meeting on March 9th, 2021, the Board of Commissioners had an opportunity to learn more about Juneteenth, and further discussions were held in a 2x2 in a meeting on March 17th. The board then was in consensus to move forward with recognizing Juneteenth with the adoption of a resolution. And I will read the resolution as follows. Resolution designating June 19th as Juneteenth Independence Day in recognition of June 19th, 1865, the date on which news of the end of slavery reached the slaves in the southwestern states. Whereas news of the end of slavery did not reach the frontier areas of the United States, in particular, the state of Texas and other southwestern states, until months after the conclusion of the Civil War, more than 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln issues the Emancipation Proclamation on June 1, 1863. Whereas on June 19, 1865, Union soldiers led by Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, with news that the Civil War had ended and enslaved were free. Whereas African Americans who had been slaves in the Southwest celebrated June 19th, commonly known as Juneteenth Independence Day, an inspiration and encouragement for future generations. Whereas African Americans from the Southwest have continued the tradition of observing Juneteenth Independence Day for more than 150 years. Whereas Juneteenth Independence Day began as a holiday in the state of Texas and is now celebrated in 46 states and the District of Columbia as a special day of observance and recognition of the emancipation of all slaves in the United States. Whereas Juneteenth Independence Day celebrations have been held to honor African Americans' freedom while encouraging the development and respect for all cultures. Whereas the faith and strength of character demonstrated by former slaves and descendants of former slaves remain an example for all people of the United States, regardless of background, religious, or race. Whereas slavery was not officially abolished until the ratification of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States in December 1865. Whereas over the course of its history, the United States has grown into a symbol of democracy and freedom around the world. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Town of Waxhaw that 1, the Board of Commissioners designates June 19th as Juneteenth Independence Day. 2, supports the continued nationwide celebration of Juneteenth Independence Day to provide an opportunity for the people of the United States to learn more about the past and to better understand and acknowledge the experiences that have shaped the United States. And 3, recognizes the observance of the end of slavery as part of the history and heritage of the United States. Duly adopted and effective this 23rd day of March 2021. Ronald P. Pappas, Mayor. Melanie Schuler, Town Clerk. Any questions, comments from the board?
I'd like to make a couple of comments. So I want to thank and appreciate Mayor Pro Tem McMillan bringing this forward. I think that this issue was not something that I was really concerned or aware of, and that she was able to bring this information forward, as well as Mayor Alvarez, to help me to really gain a better understanding and get some information of how important this issue is to a certain segment of our population. And in addition to that, I think that this is an important story of our American history, of US history, and how it fits in even with the fabric of the history of the South and the end of slavery and how it had taken 2 years. And I think it's something that should be recognized as part of our heritage and history in the United States, especially here in the South, where Waxhaw is as well. So I want to thank you for bringing that forward and helping me to learn more about it.
Great. Any other comments, thoughts? Brenda, I also agree. Thank you. Job well done for bringing it forward to us. Makes us recognize, our heritage here in the area, not only in the United States or in this country, as it was developing. So thank you for doing the research on it, and hopefully we can move this along to the next step.
It's also my hope that in doing so and moving forward with this, but to bring more cultural awareness of programs across the board for other cultural groups as well, so that this is not just something that people look at as an ordinary day, but that we can come together with better educating, understanding, and bringing more togetherness of all groups and cultures. This is a way of learning about people without being fearful of them, but gaining more of an understanding about who your neighbors are and what has happened in their lives, so that we too can be one state, one United States, and Waxhaw can be culturally diverse with an understanding of everyone who is here.
I just want to echo off that. I think you bring up a good point, because as we grow and our population expands, we have different types of different ethnicities and culture of people who are moving in here. And so I think, we're in the process of building a new downtown park, and maybe that's something that we could host an event or some sort of a cultural or a cultural event where people could display their different ethnicities, and we could have some sort of event in the new park. It would really lend itself to some sort of event there that we can probably work at for the future.
That's very good. All right, thank you for those comments. Any additional comments before I ask for the next step? All right, seeing none up on the screen, I'm going to ask for somebody to make a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution recognizing Juneteenth as Independence Day.
Very good. If you could read, if you have in front of you, the resolution number.
All right, I make a motion to adopt resolution number 2021004, designating June 19th as Juneteenth Independence Day. In recognition of June 19th, 1965, the date on which the news of the end of slavery reached the slaves in the southwestern states.
Okay, we have a long motion up there. So roll call vote. I'm going to move it around. We're going to go to Commissioner Westlake.
Commissioner Westlake, aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Morey,
Commissioner Morey, aye.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Commissioner Simpson. Oh, you need to unmute. There you go. Say it again if you would.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Very good. Passes unanimously. Thank you. And thank you again, Brenda, for all the time, effort, and energy that you put forth on this. This is appreciated citywide, townwide. So appreciate that. All right, we're going to move down to the next one. We'll be down to new business. And we've got a, looks like we have a budget adjustment on that. I'm looking for our town finance director, Rosemary. Rosemary, you online?
Can you see me?
I cannot see you yet. I see your background. You're hiding from the camera.
Can you see me now? Oh, yeah, you can. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. So this should be very quick. As you know, we've been working on our audit. Due to the COVID virus, it had been delayed, just like everything else has been delayed. But we're about ready to pull this all together. And we had one more thing as a request that we do a budget amendment for $13,710 to bring the end of the fiscal year back into budget with revenues and expenditures. So that is what I'm requesting. Don't have a presentation.
Not a problem in there. So we're basically doing a line item adjustment is what we're looking at here, correct?
Actually, it's an amendment. The revenues and the expenditures were not in balance after everything was taken into consideration at the end of the fiscal year.
Yes. Okay. Any comments for our finance director? Okay, no comments. I don't see any hands up, no questions. So I'm looking again for a motion to approve this budget adjustment for fiscal year 19 and 20, looks like.
Excuse me, Mayor, it's a budget amendment.
Amendment, okay, it's got adjustment on here, but a budget amendment,
Yes, sir.
that's corrected, okay? Okay, for a budget amendment. So can I get a motion?
So moved.
Very good. We got a motion to approve, I'm hoping.
Approve the budget amendment for fiscal year 20, what year?
1920.
1920?
Yes, ma'am.
2019 to 2019.
2019?
Yes.
Fiscal year 1920. Yes, ma'am.
2019 and 2020.
Oh, okay.
We're
420.
reaching back and making a long overdue correction.
I thought she kept saying the year was 1920. I make a
No.
motion for the budget amendment for fiscal year 2019 and 2020.
Very good. Thank you for that. Any further discussion? We have a motion up on the board. All right, no questions. So we have a roll call vote. We'll start off with Commissioner Westlake.
Commissioner Westlake, aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Simpson,
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Commissioner Morey,
Commissioner Moore, aye.
back to Mayor Pro Tem McMillan.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
All around the board approved. So thank you, Rosemary, for that. Well, that was a very long overdue and found correction there. So thank you for digging way back. It again puts us on course to have more clear reporting. So I thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, next up on this is I'm going to give it to Jeff, is a resolution calling for a public hearing to consider installment financing. So Jeff, this is under new business, item number 2. It's yours.
Thank you, Mayor. So I've provided you a copy of the summary of the response to our request for proposals to refinance the debt on the police building. We received responses this past Thursday and had a follow-up meeting with our financial consultant this past Friday. A public hearing is required as part of the process of seeking approval from the local government commission. The public hearing would be set for our next meeting on April 13th, with the final decision taking place at the April 27th meeting. The resolution is also provided that specifies Pinnacle Financial Partners. Here's the resolution here. Resolution calling for a public hearing to consider installment financing and refinancing of various capital projects as defined by North Carolina General Statute 160A-20. And it's a short one, so I guess I can go ahead and read it briefly here. Whereas the Board of Commissioners for the town of Waxhaw, North Carolina, i.e. the town, is required by North Carolina General Statute 160A-20 to hold a public hearing in connection with the installment financing and refinancing of various capital projects. And the board wants to call that public hearing. Whereas the town has considered 5 proposals from banks, lenders to refinance the town's existing debt on its police department building. Whereas the town intends to enter an agreement with Pinnacle Financial Partners for an installment contract that will not exceed the amount of $3.8 million with an interest rate of 1.38% and a final maturity date of October 10th, 2028. Now therefore be it determined and resolved by the Board of Commissioners for the town of Waxhaw as follows. The board hereby calls a public hearing relating to the installment financing described above to be held during the board's regularly scheduled virtual meeting on April 13th, 2021. And this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its passage, duly adopted this 23rd day of March 2021. And we can go into more specifics about it at the next meeting, but I think this is a good and advantageous for us to do. This will save us an amount of money that will be worth it, over $100,000 through the life of the loan. And just as another quick point I'll make too, that this opportunity that we have with Pinnacle, with prepayments that they allow, we could certainly save the taxpayers more money if we pay it off a little bit earlier with having that option as well. And we'll get into that a little bit more next time, but just wanted to point that out and wanted to make the request that the board consider this resolution to set the public hearing for April 13th. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Jeff. If you guess we'll go over more of the details on that, but it will result in a fairly substantial financial savings to us is what I'm understanding. But what we're looking for today is obviously to put it up for a public hearing. And so we're looking for a motion on this unless anybody's got any other questions around the board for Jeff. Again, the details, this is just for the resolution to hold the public hearing. So with that, I'm going to ask for a motion.
I make a motion calling for a public hearing to consider installment financing and refinancing of various capital projects as defined by NCGS 160A-20.
Great. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, on that. So any other discussion on the matter going forward? All right, seeing none, we're going to ask for a roll call vote. So here we go again. We have a motion on the board for the resolution to call the public hearing. Commissioner Westlake,
Tracy Westlake, aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Simpson,
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Commissioner Morey,
Commissioner Morey, aye.
Ken McMillan.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Very good. Thank you for that. So that will go to the next BOC meeting on the 13th of April. Am I correct?
That's
Very good.
correct.
All right, outstanding. All right, thank you for that, Jeff. Appreciate that. Gonna move down to the town leadership reports right now. And Jeff, I think you're back up to bat.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few things, and if I could ask our IT staff, if they're listening now, if they could also promote Blair up here too. He had a little announcement he would like to make as well after I'm done with mine. So the town spring cleanup week is coming up on April 6th, 7th, and 8th. And so as I did last year, just want to read through the flyer just so that everybody understands what this cleanup will entail. All items must be curbside by 7 a.m. beginning on Tuesday, April 6th. Routes will vary, so all items must be out by the curb by this time. Once your street has been served, no return trips will be made. Please note, items may not be removed all at once. All items are subject to being picked up by different trucks depending on the facility where it will be disposed. So items that will be picked up, examples: mattresses, box springs, white goods, appliances, furniture, televisions, and general household items. Items that will not be picked up: motors, batteries, tires, car parts, oil, paint, hazardous chemicals, pianos, building and renovation materials such as lumber, carpeting, tile, doors, and wooden pallets. And just as a reminder, trash and recycling will be picked up on your scheduled day, and yard waste will be picked up on Tuesday as usual. We are excited to provide this great service in conjunction with Waste Pro. Spring, as you might recall, we were not able to do it last spring because of COVID. We did one in the fall. And so now we're excited to get back to our regular spring schedule with this program. The next announcement, reminder that our Shred It Day is April 10th, and that'll be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and that will be at Waxhaw PD. So if you have a box or more than one box full of paper documents that you're looking to safely dispose of, that would be the time to do it. And NCDOT Spring Litter Sweep program is back for 2021. It's the biannual street cleanup drive. I mentioned it at our last meeting. This year, we have a group event scheduled for Saturday, April 17th. So volunteers, we would ask that you meet at the gravel lot under the water tower. Must be ages 12 and up. If you are 17 and under, you must be accompanied by an adult. And NCDOT will be providing all the supplies for this event. So all you need to do is just show up and those supplies would be provided for you. So we look forward to Saturday, April 17th for as many as the community that are able to get out and do some cleaning up along our streets. And lastly, just throw out a quick idea before I let Blair talk. We're talking in the office on Friday that maybe we should have an LDC cake. So maybe at lunchtime, we'll see if we can square that away tomorrow, and would love to invite our board to come celebrate our tremendous accomplishment with what better way than to have a cake. So thought we had, so that'll be a nice little thing to do on a Friday. And with that, I'll let Blair, I'll actually bring it up on screen here so that Blair can talk while I am sharing that on his behalf.
Thank you, Jeff.
Very welcome.
Good evening, everyone. what you see here on the screen is a flyer that we put together to promote a couple of things regarding the pedestrian plan that the town is currently doing. This was from a grant from NCDOT, and we are a little ways into it, but this is our first time being able to get public input. And we're doing that in two ways to start off with. One is a community input meeting, and there will be a couple of those. This one will have to be online. We're hoping the next one can be actually out there in the public. But the community input meeting is scheduled, as you can see, for April 6th, and it's 6:30 p.m. It's going to be a Zoom meeting. And so you can see on the flyer, there's a link for that. And we'll be able to also provide that information online through the QR code that you see down below. That QR code takes people directly to an online survey that is currently underway and will be up until May 5th. And this is a MetroQuest survey. It's an excellent format for getting people to see very quickly what the planning process or planning scope, and asks a variety of questions in different kinds of interactive ways for folks to give their input on what kinds of facilities they prefer, what they like to see, where there might be particular challenges in the town. And so it's a very interactive process, starting with that survey, but then also that will invite them also to the community input meeting. So all you have to do is just wave your phone camera in front of that QR code, and it will take you to the website. I love how it does that. It's so easy now to do that. And so people can see the survey. And you'll notice too that there is for people who complete the survey, and it's like a 5 web-page survey. So it's just like 5 questions. But for those who complete it, they're eligible for a $50 gift card. So we talk about that on the flyer. But we're going to be advertising this through our usual means, both online and in print. But also we've put together this flyer, and we're going to be placing it in various businesses that are amenable to that. A lot of businesses have informational bulletin boards, and we hope to place them up there. So we'll be making the rounds this week, actually, to get these flyers out. And some businesses may allow us to leave copies of the flyers, others just posting it. But we're doing that all in-house, so that we can just print out as many as are needed. And would invite y'all, when you come by for cake, grab a flyer or grab a few flyers. We'll try to have some of those right there by the cake. But anyway, this is a great process for updating the current plan, the current pedestrian plan. But that update is so necessary because of how much the town has grown in the 10 years that have intervened between that last plan. So we are working with the consultant VHB, and they're doing a fantastic job. They'll be the ones that are leading the show for the community input meeting. But this will be a very interactive meeting as well. People will have opportunity to write in their questions, and those will be read out. And we think it will generate interest, and people who go to that meeting will most likely want to take the survey as well, and vice versa. People who take the survey will be have their eyes open to what's going on in this community meeting and be drawn to it. So we see both of these things as generating more interest in the process. And this will be, like I said, the first community input meeting. There'll be another one. This plan the process will go through the end of this year. And I don't know the exact date that we'll have it before you for consideration for adoption, but you, the board, will have lots of opportunity as well to participate in formulating this plan, along with our steering committee, which is made up of about a dozen folks representing different segments of the town. So just wanted to put that out there for you, and you can get more information as you need, or just through the flyer itself. I think that's it.
Awesome. Jeff, can you see if you can get that email to us? That would be awesome.
Yeah, happy to do it.
Thank you, everyone.
Very good. Thanks, Blair. That'll be exciting to see. Again, more community input when we can. This is again in concert somehow with DOT as well. They have any input to the designs and that, or is just all just internal?
With DOT, is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah, NCDOT is one of our, we have a couple of representatives from NCDOT involved in the steering committee level. Our steering committee consists of both a sort of internal to Waxhaw folks, but also people who are outside of Waxhaw, representing DOT and the Charlotte Regional Transportation Organization, CARTPO. Let's see, I think there's a few other folks, Carolina Thread Trail. So yeah, there's input from a wide variety of sources, particularly with people who are very familiar with the transportation project funding and process.
And some or all of those representatives may be online with this at the same time?
We're going to be sure to make sure that they know about the meeting. I can't guarantee that they'll all be there for the meeting, but I think it will be important to have them there if people have questions that they want to hear directly from DOT from. It's not specifically designed to be that kind of format where we're a channel to the state, but I hope that we can make that happen as well.
If you can, it'd be great for them to hear that. They do very, very well these days, and the participation that I have is, I sit on the CRTPO board, and so they've been very, very good at explaining, what they're doing and how they do it and what the processes are. So I think a lot of people, if they're available, it'd be nice that if there are some questions to be fielded, from the residents, they might get a more clear and direct understanding instead of other outlets.
No, you're absolutely right. I appreciate the suggestion, and I'll talk to VHB tomorrow about, and I can reach out as well to our DOT representatives and make sure that they are strongly encouraged to attend.
Outstanding. That'd be helpful. Thanks, Blair.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Blair? Thoughts, comments? All right, Town Manager, back to you. Any other closing remarks on your side?
No, sir.
Very good. The next up then is the Development Services. And I see here, do we have two presentations or are they working in concert on this one?
They are working in concert of each other. So they'll both have different items to present.
All right, very good. But there are two different items then, is what you're saying, correct?
Yes, I believe there are three different attachments there.
All right, so I'll go with first on the list. Orion, you're on. So take the lead. Tell us what's going to happen next.
Sorry about that.
All right, you can unmute yourself. You're up.
Yeah, I had unmuted. I muted again. I also wanted to thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for allowing me to present or have a leadership report here tonight. And I also wanted to congratulate Jeff and the planning group on the LDC and the zoning map. Great job, guys. My first item is, can you zoom out, I guess, a little bit on that, Nick? This is the, I think we discussed this probably the first time, maybe a year ago, 9 months, definitely, the stream debris removal. And the county has been progressing with that. And the bid went out last Monday. And this map shows approximately 20,000 linear feet of the 12 Mile Creek that's going to be debris removal. And from the suspension bridge at South Carolina, North Carolina border to approximately right now, this shows about a mile east of NC 16. And we're hoping a little bit further, depending on what the bid finally is, then the actual amount will be determined upon what the winning bid is. This is one of the first bids I've seen that only has one line item on it. So basically they're going to be bidding per linear foot, and whoever comes at the cheapest rate and has a reasonable, I'm assuming, time frame that they can get it completed will be the selected bidder. The bids are due April 7th. And the duration will be defined with their bid. The contract says this must be done by November 15th. I'm assuming the work will begin, this is what we're after the rainy season, so hopefully in June or July, and will only take a couple weeks to get completed. And that's about it for the debris removal. If anybody has any questions about that.
I think it'll be nice to see that area cleaned up for a lot of reasons, and it'll help with some of the flows through there. So we might not experience as much the flooding in our Town Creek and Nesbitt Park areas. So hopefully it can be taken downstream and disposed of. So that'd be great. Quick question on, you didn't talk about specifics on the funding. Remind us of how that was going to work.
The funding is all a grant from the feds and the county monies. So they have approximately $40,000, and that's why it's defined by what the bid is going to be. So if we get a bid of $1.25 a linear foot, we're going to get a lot more than 20,000 linear feet. So right, the bid, this map assumed that it was going to be a $2 bid. The last one, Ellen Aldridge is the director with the county who's working on this. And he said the last bid, I think, was $1.68 or somewhere in that range. So we're likely to get more than this shown, but this is a conservative estimate of how far we'll be able to get up from North Carolina border.
And I remember having this discussion about a year ago, and it was one of those things that somebody whispered, and all of a sudden you guys put it into motion. And here we are today looking at a bid on it, and the likelihood of it getting done during the dry season. So if it goes forward like it should, which we all hope it will, I commend you guys for taking action on it and making an initiative, owning it, and now seeing it to what we hope will be completion. So
yeah, thanks. This is very fun. Yeah, this is a fun item to get cleaned up, and Dina's very excited to possibly get kayaks in there one day. So this is a fun project.
That'll be pretty nice to have. So any other questions for our staff engineer, Ryan? Ryan, thank you very much for moving this thing forward towards the goal line. I think it'll be really exciting to see that thing get out there. And I'm not sure what they're going to do with all the debris. I'm sure it'll be driftwood / firewood for somebody. So I think that's excellent. So looking forward to having that cleaned up.
With that, the requirement in the bid is for the debris to be removed approximately 20 feet from the bank. Dina is actually working on getting a group together to remove a group with the county to remove any of the debris that's on the town property. So we'll be able to relocate that. And there's other groups talking about removing the rest of it. So if we all work together and get some groups out there, we can remove that debris and have a big bonfire or something. I don't know.
I'm noted for some of those. So I'll be the first one there to throw the match on. How's that? So that'd be great. All right. Well, again, what a great team effort. Everybody communicating, basically cleaning it up and getting rid of it. So thank you for that, and looking forward to seeing it completed. And thank you for talking to us about it tonight.
Nick, and the next item is the sidewalk from the bridge, the current pedestrian bridge, to the mill. And this is showing you a site plan that don't see it yet, but the site plan that was provided, the most recent one provided to NCDOT. And I see a blank screen.
Blank screen.
That's the PDF I had for the sidewalk repairs, which I don't know why it didn't show up. It's not the plan sheet for the.
That's not the plan sheet, Nick. That's the sidewalk repairs PDF. That's the street signs.
Those are the two I have.
I sent you and another one in the email that my initial email that I sent the stream map. I can see if I got access to it.
So now I'll make the announcement, please hold for technical difficulties. There you go.
You got something?
There's something on there now. It's a little unclear. We have to get it to scale.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, this is just a plan sheet that we had submitted to DOT, and it shows when he gets there.
Identify the intersections. Our famous bridge to mill.
Correct. So the key items here is we're relocating the crosswalk location. So you can see the existing location of the bridge, and the bottom left corner of the exhibit says crosswalk, existing crosswalk at this location. So that one will be removed, and it'll be shifted over approximately 75 feet. This is going to help site issues where there's the higher elevation, kind of a mound there right as you cross the bridge. So vehicles will be able to better see it coming from cars zipping around that curb where the guardrail is. They'll see people standing on the top of the hill or walking across the street at the crest rather than beyond the crest. And this also will help with stacking issues at the intersection of NC 75 and 16. Cars backing up that are turning, hopefully not backing up, turning right, but that right turn lane doesn't allow a lot of stacking. So it will, it'll back up to that crosswalk, and not to have cars stopped in it. This will allow an additional 3 or 4 cars. We hope to have this bid out by next month. We're working on the bid, and it's finishing up some edits to the drawings. We thought we were done. We were at 99%. We went out and did a final walkthrough and realized there's some grading issues, not only with ADA, but also some stormwater. And we discussed the stormwater issues with the state, and we're trying to get those resolved. The original plan just had the sidewalk, so all the stormwater would have gone over the sidewalk. And so now we're trying to work a way to get it underneath it without intruding into CSX right away. So we've gone through all the I don't want to say issues, but issues with CSX. We have an agreement with CSX, and so that's taken care of. And so right now we're trying to satisfy DOT and ADA requirements. And that's about it.
Well, that one's been a long time coming, probably 4 or 5 years that I can remember. And I think the tenants over at the mill will probably give you a big hug to get that one in. So.
Right. We were out there when we were doing our walkthrough. A gentleman was walking his dog, and he got a big smile on his face when we told him we were putting a sidewalk out there. So it's going to make some people happy.
Now, that's a great project to get over the line, guys. Thanks. So. All right, those are two. I'm going to guess you guys were in concert on that presentation there. So any more business from our town engineering?
I have 3 items to go over.
I knew you'd show up.
Hey, good evening, everybody. What you see on the screen is a sidewalk repair that repairs a trip and fall hazard. The town, as part of its ADA transition plan required by NCDOT and the federal government, needs to make sure that all public facilities or work towards all public facilities being ADA accessible. And one area to address is the trip and fall hazards on sidewalks. The town has entered in a contract with a company called Precision Safe Sidewalks. We are doing a pilot project that costs $18,000 with them. They will be addressing 119 trip and fall hazards, as you see on the screen, and those will be along 4 streets in Curitan. Curitan has areas of sidewalks that are lifting and raising like that, so that's something that we'll look forward to. The project will also help relieve some workload off of public services. So public services doesn't have to go out and spend a whole day fixing some of these. The company we're in contract with has a special method to do it that is clean, keeps dust down, and is quick and cost effective. So it saves the town money and also allows public services more time to do other work items. Does anybody have any questions on addressing the trip and fall hazards on sidewalks?
Well, certainly that'll be a great reduction in liability and things like that for the town, but I've employed this method a lot during my lifetime, and it's actually very, very effective. So it's basically almost like grinding terrazzo tile. So they can grind it down, as you see in the finished product there, and it will alleviate, at least for some time, if ever at all, that you'd have to pull out the pavement section.
Yeah, it's cost effective, and it makes it safer for everybody, and also allows ADA accessibility as well.
Very good.
The next item I want to update everybody about is the street sign project. That was brought up at the retreat, and the current status of that project is we have entered into a contract with a company called Haynes Electric. The contract came out to be $24,000. I've received the sign proofs and am reviewing those now. The signs will look as shown with the Waxhaw W logo on the left side. The next step is, once the proofs are confirmed, I'll confirm those with Jeff, the size and the text. Once we do that, NCDOT will approve their encroachment, and then we'll begin scheduling installation with the contractor. Looking at the schedule, I hope that those will be up by the start of June. So those should be going up here in the next few months at all the signalized intersections around town. Does anyone have any questions about the street sign project?
It'll be a welcome addition to our branding effort. Talk about, a sense of arrival and a sense of place. So I always was amazed that when I came here to the Southeast, that all the streets were SR 2205 or whatever it is, and that's never on any map anywhere. So yeah, this will be very helpful, and it'll really give, again, a sense of arrival, sense of place for our town. So good move.
Thank you. And the final project I want to update everybody on is the signal at Gray Byram and Providence Road. That's the NCDOT project. The pre-construction meeting for that project, it was supposed to be today, but it got pushed 1 week to next Tuesday. That pre-construction meeting is where we'll get more details from the contractor about when the contractor will start work. The contract states that the contractor can start working anywhere from March 22nd, which was yesterday, to May 17th. So they can begin work anytime in that window. And once they do, they have 60 days for construction of the turn lanes and the signal. I reviewed the contract, and the contractor will not be allowed to close lanes on 16 Monday to Friday between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. So a lot of the heavy work will be occurring overnight, and that will definitely help traffic flow down 16. Does anyone have any questions about the signal project at Gray Byram?
No question. That one's a long time coming too, and the funds are there. And fortunately, our cooperative dialogue with DOT is really helping get this done. So thanks to all of you for keeping on it. And another one I'm looking forward to getting done. It'll be a great savings to people traveling up and down that roadway, and being able to get out at Gray Byram is a big deal.
Absolutely.
Any other comments from any of the commissioners on this item? We should celebrate. We should have a cake party out there too.
Signal cake.
Signal cake. We'll design one like that. So that's excellent. Thanks, Theo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other items for you guys? I guess you went off screen, or you moved around on the screen all over on me. So I guess you're off for a little while. Thank you for that. Any other thoughts and comments? We'll move down to the Board of Commissioners. Any comments on events of the day, week, month, night? Commissioner Simpson, I see your hand up. You have the floor first.
I just want to thank the town staff for all their effort on us passing the LDC tonight. Like, I am so humbled to be part of that and undertaking, and it's just really amazing. And I just want to express my gratitude and how great the staff was, and to be able to work together as a team. I mean, everyone played a role in it, and I'm just very grateful, and you guys should all be proud of yourselves, because I know I am.
Right.
I agree that UDO took years in the making, years and years without anything. So to have a formal plan in place is something much needed here in the town of Waxhaw. Thank you, Jeff, for remembering my comments back in 2019. I did ask for that. You delivered. I appreciate that. To you, your staff, and everyone else who worked so hard. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Brenda. Very much appreciated. So any other comments? Good thoughts for the night? They're all good thoughts. We're accomplishing a lot, board, and we're getting a lot of things done for the town, all in the best effort. So appreciate all of you guys moving forward, being available, helping us through comments. We can slug it out, but you know what? At the end of the day, we come up with some type of resolution that moves us forward much closer to the goals that we've always said we wanted. So I appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you for being a part of this board, and we look to these things and better things going forward. All right, seeing no other hands up there, there's nothing on the closed session side. So I'm going to bid goodnight to Charlie and ask for an adjournment motion. May I have an adjournment motion from someone?
So moved.
So moved. We have a motion to adjourn this meeting. We'll start with Mayor Pro Tem McMillan.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Commissioner Hall.
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Morey.
Commissioner Morey, aye.
Commissioner Westlake.
Commissioner Westlake, aye.
And Commissioner Simpson.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
It's a wrap, everybody. Congratulations on what we've been able to achieve so far. We'll see you next time out.
Be safe, everybody. Good night.